morning guys, Archer here, and today is the dog vlog. I'm really excited for that. I had my friends ask a bunch of different questions, about 10 questions, that I'm going to answer for you guys. So we're going to dive right in. These are maybe like my personal preference, or I might give you a fact about dogs. So the first question was, what is my favorite type of doggo? Be a little more specific, said friend. But I reworded that, and so the question is, what is my favorite what's my favorite group of dog? There's a difference. A group is like, for example, the sporting group, the non-sporting group, the herding group, the terrier group, and that's where you have all these different breeds that fit in these groups. So my favorite, hi, the dog's here, she's just pacing. Because it's a video about you, so you need to be here and be excited. She's not excited. So my favorite group is the herding group. Whenever I was really little, I loved collies. Like, to answer the next question for you guys, what was my favorite breed? When I was little, my favorite breed of dog was a collie. I loved all dogs, but the collie was my favorite. So I love border collies, short-haired, not short-haired, I loved border collies, I liked corgis, I liked rough-coated collies, I liked smooth-coated collies. I just loved collies! And they were in the herding group, so they were my favorite. The next question is, what is my favorite breed? This question is a little harder to answer now because I love all types of dogs. I love all breeds of dogs. But right now I can safely say that my favorites are Pembroke Welsh Corgis, Greyhounds, Alaskan Huskies, Great Danes, and Standard Poodles. Although this one I'm not liking so much. Please calm down for me. So the next question is, what breed of dog is the hardest to take care of? That's hard. It really depends on who you are. If you are used to training dogs or if you're new at training dogs. If you're new, most dogs are going to be hard for you to train because this is like a whole new, thing for you. But if you're used to it and you want like a challenging breed, she bumped my camera. She's so spastic today. Stop being so spastic today. I'd say the most challenging breed for you, if you're used to dogs, would be a wolf hybrid. Anything that is like mixed with a wolf, basically. Because that's all the frustrations of this feral, wild dog that isn't used to being in a house. Mixed with a breed of dog that is. So you have to train this animal and you have to watch their wild side. I'd say another breed that's hard to take care of that isn't a wolf hybrid is like any kind of sporting group dog. Any dog that has like a lot of energy and needs a lot of care and needs a lot of walks and a lot of exercise. And you're just a busy working person, or you have kids and you don't have that much time for a dog, then don't get the dog that's going to tear up your furniture because it says, I need to play, I need to play, I need to play. The next question is, what is the best dog to keep indoors? And I'll say this, just to generalize, but small dogs. Small dogs are probably the best because they're versatile. You not only can have them in a house, you can have them in an apartment. And there are weight restrictions and height restrictions for big dogs if you have an apartment. So little dogs, unless they're, I think a lot of this about like a lot of little dogs, but unless they're barky dogs, unless they're yippy and they bark a lot and you can't train them to stop, then for indoors, like that sound reverberates and it echoes around a house, and after a while I'm sure it can get tiresome. But little dogs, generally. The next question is, what kind of dogs have I owned? Me personally, I've just had Jess over here. Like, she's my first dog. I've had her since I was 10 years old, I believe. Yeah, 10 years old. And she's 10 years old right now. And she's gonna be 11 in December, isn't that right? But my family had a little, I hated this dog, and that dog hated me, but a little wire-haired dachshund. And she was definitely my mom's dog and not my dog, because every time I tried to, reach down and pet her, she'd and, yip at me, and yeah, that's what the dog would say. She would yip at me, and she would nip at me, and I was a little kid, and that made me cry, but, I still love dogs, even though the dog that I was introduced to was a nasty, biting little dog. But that's all I've had so far. In the future, I would love to get a greyhound or a corgi, maybe a husky, if I can take care of a dog of that kind of personality. And another poodle. Like, adopting another poodle is always great. Here's a 2-part question. It's what's my favorite thing about owning a dog, and what's my least favorite? Let's tackle the least favorite first. Personally, I own a dog that has issues with her stomach, and she kind of vomits up things that she eats, and she kind of vomits up things that she drinks, like water after she eats a biscuit. Not all dogs do this, but my dog just kind of has that issue, so that's my thing. A general thing that's hard about dogs is socialization, because if you have a puppy that's been around brothers and sisters like their whole puppyhood, then that's awesome. Your dog's gonna do great with kids and with other dogs, like, no doubt. But my dog and some other dogs, like, they're not always raised with their siblings. Their siblings get adopted before they do, and they become the last of the litter, like mine did. And so they're not used to dogs anymore. Even whenever Jessie was a puppy, we tried to teach her to be friends with other dogs. We tried to teach her to be social with other people, because we wanted her originally to work in nursing homes, so we could take her to nursing homes and make people happy. But she turned out to just not be that social. I'm looking at her. I'm giving her the stink eye. But she turned out to, not to be social, and that's no fault of ours or anything. That's just her personality. So definitely, if you can, even if it is just their personality, train them and work with them to be with other people and to be with other dogs. Now, my favorite thing about owning a dog is, for me, and I just keep looking at my dog, I'm sorry. For me, I never get tired of seeing her. I never get tired of seeing my cute dog's face, or my cute dog, doing her play bow, or just looking cute, or tilting her head. I don't know, it's all still so cute to me. And she's there for me, not always. Like, she's the kind of dog who just will lay on the couch, but she's still, man's best friend, where she'll come up to you and she'll cuddle with you when you need it. And that's probably the best thing you can ever have about a dog, is just their loyalty and their sense of companionship. So the next question is, do I like big dogs or little dogs? I like all dogs, but I prefer big dogs. That's just how it is for me. I love big dogs. They're like the sweet, gentle giants, and they're just so goofy, but in the best way. I love big dogs. What are my plans for the future with dogs? After Jessie, I'd like to adopt a greyhound, and then maybe a corgi. Like I said, maybe another poodle or a husky, just big dogs. Except for a corgi, because corgis act like big dogs. They're also in the herding group, so, see, that's where my love of the herding group comes from, is corgis also, because corgis. This is a hard question to answer, but breeder or shelter? Please don't judge me too hardly when I say that. Harshly when I say this. But both. Because, don't get me wrong. If you can adopt from a shelter, absolutely adopt a dog from the shelter. Do it. Like, there are so many dogs that need good homes. But at the same time, if you're looking for a dog for a specific need, like you have a specific allergy, you might not know what the shelter dog, what's bred in it, because most shelter dogs are a mix of breed. So you might have to go to a breeder to get like a non-allergenic dog, or just the dog that you've been dreaming of. Like, if you've been really, really wishing for a dog, like I was wishing for a poodle my whole childhood before I got Jess. and we got her from a breeder, and that's not bad. I don't think that's bad at all. I will say, you know, now that there are so many dogs in the shelter, like, I would say pro adoption, but, and this is just an example, there was a girl in my speech class, and she did her video on shelter dogs, which was really good. And I'm not sure if this was how she was coming across, like if she meant to do this, but she kind of came off as shaming people who had breeder dogs. And that's not a bad thing. I really don't think that's bad. Definitely you should adopt a dog if you can. But the next thing you want to do, if you really want to spend the time and money to look for one, is, yeah, go to a breeder. You know, you won't have, you'll know the dog's history because they're puppies and they're young and they'll be raised right. And, you know, you'll know exactly what kind of health qualifications that you need to look out for, because each dog has their own different health issues, so to speak. So here's the last question, and I'm going to try to hurry it up, but I'm going to read it here. A lot of people don't like poodles because of their appearance and not so pleasant demeanor. What do I think? What do I think? That's actually, I mean, you don't get it so much now, but every now and then I do get questions like, so you've got a poodle? Like one of those little frou-frou dogs? For one thing, they say little, and I tell them, no, I've got a standard, and they're like, there's a standard? Like, there's a big one of those? Yes, that's where they originated. Hi. Come here, answer this question. Not like that. But yeah, to each their own. If they don't like the style of a poodle, I totally get that, I guess. You know, everyone has their own preferences and, you know, desired looks for their dog. Personally, I don't give my dog the froofy pom-pom look, because that's normally a look that breeders, whenever they're showing their dog, that's kind of the look that they give for them, just to show off their body, to show off their hair, and to show off what their hair can, you know, do, how you can style it different ways, and how big and fluffy it is. That's mainly for show. That's mainly for design purposes. Although, you know, back in the day, they used to make the pom-poms on the hips for, warmth. They would keep the dog warm. As for demeanor, I guess poodles, like, when you hear about them, they come across as snobby or stuck up. And aside from Jessie sometimes being way too sassy than she should be, they're fantastic dogs. They're great with kids. They're great with other animals. Just the breed in general is like a fantastically sweet, kind, like smart, so smart dog. They're clowns too. Like, they'll do things just because they know that you'll laugh at them. Like, that's so funny how a breed is just so smart and says, I'm gonna do this just to make the person laugh and think that I'm cute. Like, they're way too smart. But yeah, those have been 10 questions about dogs. And I'm sorry this video has been kind of longer than the other videos have. I want to do a video just about poodles, because there's just so much I could say about poodles because I own one. So I'll do that eventually. Hey, come here. We're gonna close out. See it? As usual, we're going to end this video on a blackout. So, bye guys!